The Coppa Italia final is live. Juve v Napoli tonight from 7:45. Live action from the DTM right now. We're live in Brands Hatch.
Welcome to the fourth race weekend of the DTM season 2012. We're here in Austria, in Spielberg, and yes, that is a bull. It's the symbol of the Red Bull racetrack. And actually it's quite funny because the arch is made out of recycled Red Bull cans. And this is going to be a very exciting race with Edoardo Mortara in his first pole position, and actually he started here yesterday in a very adventurous helicopter trip, and maybe that was good luck for him, who knows. But one thing is for sure, competition is pretty fierce with Gary Paffett from Mercedes-Benz in P2 and Matthias Ekström in P3. So hold on tight, the race is about to start, and now here are your commentators, Sean and Andrew.
Yeah, thanks very much. We're excited. The grandstands are absolutely packed here at the Red Bull Ring. So we're getting ready for this race with Edoardo Mortara actually on the pole position for the first time. So that should be exciting stuff. But Gary Paffett looking strong, leads the championship here. 2 wins and a second place so far this season. Busy grid down there at the moment. Sean, hot day, quite a bit different from qualifying, so could see some slightly different setups as we check out the circuit, and we'll go down to the start finish line. This track, which was refurbished in 2002, all new pits complex and other buildings. BMW and Audi on the grid this week, as we had the run to the first Castrol Edge corner, and then Sean, it goes pretty steeply uphill from here, look.
It does. This corner here as well, on the exit, there's quite a big speed bumps, and Tomczyk, I know, qualified only 4th. Think he could have gone a bit quicker if he hadn't hit those bumps there. But coming all the way down to here, this is probably the most popular overtaking point. High top speed entry, tight right-hand hairpin, and again, it's very important just to pick your braking point. Cold tyres on the first lap be particularly tricky.
Run along the side of the ridge there as they then head to the Schlossgold corner, and then a right-hander, and then it dives downhill again. Lots of elevation changes here, and down into the long left-hander. In fact, there's one left-hander followed by another one. We are on part of the original circuit here. That left-hander, and then it straightens to the right, and then the run towards the most famous corner of the track, named after the great Austrian world champion Jochen Rindt, the Rindt curve. And there they are round the Rindt curve. It's still going downhill as they go down the side of the valley. And then the final right-hand Red Bull Mobile corner, which takes them then back onto the start-finish straight. And there they go. That's the end of a lap. And next we're going to hear from one of the most famous names racing here this weekend is, of course, Ralf Schumacher. And he was talking earlier to Verena Wright.
I'm now here with Ralf Schumacher. Yesterday in the qualifying, you ended up in P10. So starting today from P10, it's going to be a long, tough way. But you live nearby here, so hopefully you're going to have a lot of family and friends here. Is that going to motivate you for the race?
Well, certainly I've got some more support than on other races, and this track seemed to suit my driving style as well as it did last year. So let's hope it goes forward from where I am.
Altogether, I think 7 points you collected this season so far. The first races didn't go all that smoothly. Do you think from here on it's going to go upwards?
Well, it somehow has to. I mean, I think, first two races pace-wise was great, but qualifying didn't work out, same in Brands Hatch. So here the position is a lot better than it used to be in the races, and I think with the strong race package that we have, I should achieve some good points.
Last year you made second place here in Spielberg. Is that a good omen?
It definitely is, but it's a very long way to get there again.
Best of luck. Thank you very much, Ralf.
Yeah, Ralf, there he is, doesn't usually give very long answers. So, as we said, Mortara on the pole for the first time. And alongside him, Gary Paffett, leader of the championship. Ekstrom on row 2, the 04 and 07 champion, and man who won the race last year, Martin Tomczyk. Then the first full-time American in the series, he's found some speed. Joey Hand and Bruno Spengler alongside him on the next row of the grid. Jamie Green from the UK and Felipe Albuquerque. Dirk Werner in the yellow car lines up alongside the man we just heard from, Ralf Schumacher. Then Augusto Farfus from Curitiba in Brazil and Miguel Molina of Spain. Christian Vitoris was on the front row of Brands Hatch, not here. Alongside him, Mike Rockenfeller, who I suspect might move up. Timo Scheider just having a horror of a weekend, the former double champion alongside the youngster Adrian Tambay. Then it's Roberto Meri and Andy Prio's weekend has not been going well at all. He even lost a wheel in warm-up. Penultimate row of the grid, Susie Wolf and Rob Wickens. And then on the back row is David Coulthard and Rahal Frey. But let's hear now from the man who sits on the pole. It's Eduardo Playboy Mortara.
Yes, here I am with him. And congratulations again to your very first pole in your DTM career. I've got to ask you honestly, did you have a good night's sleep or are you nervous?
No, I'm really nervous, to be honest with you. And I think that's normal. And right now... it's always difficult, before the start. But if you start, in the front positions, it's even more difficult. And right now, I can tell you, I'm really, really nervous, and I cannot wait actually to go in the car and to actually drive, because it's a way to deal with the pressure a little bit better.
So we'll let you focus now. Best of luck, Eduardo, and we're all looking forward to a very exciting race. Thank you very much, and back to you guys.
Yeah, of course, he's a former Formula 3 champion. He's won GP2 races. He's used to the big time, and surprised to hear, Sean, how nervous he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think every driver always has that feeling of butterflies in your stomach, and if you haven't got that, I think it's an important bit that's missing from your armoury. But Mortara's looked strong all weekend and was strong here last year as well. I've got a feeling the qualifying pace is going to transfer over to the race, and I think he's got a strong bet for definitely a podium, if not a win.
Maybe a podium. Albuquerque climbs into the car, the bright blue machine, we can't miss that one. The Portuguese driver who joined Audi at the start of last year. Albuquerque will be looking for a good result. But Paffett certainly having a great year after last season. Absolute shocker for Gary, former 05 champion. There we see the silver chrome car of Jamie Green. Jamie be a little bit disappointed to be back there in P7.
Yeah, I think it's difficult when your teammate's having such a good start to the season. Jamie will be very keen just to close that gap to performance onto Gary Paffett, who's currently leading the championship. And I know he should have been a little bit further up the grid.
Yeah, just hydrating himself there, having a final drink. And just the temperature is 26 degrees, but the track temperature itself almost 40. Bruno Spengler, the French Canadians, already won a race for BMW this season in their return after 19 years away from the DTM. Remember, everybody with the V8 engined cars giving 460, 470, maybe 480 horsepower. There's Gerhard Unger, who is the team director of AMG. Of course, he has to answer to Norbert Haug, but the day-to-day running is down to his management skills, which he has plenty. Look at that grandstand. And they've been coming in since early o'clock. We saw lots of people coming in at 8 o'clock this morning. And there is Joey Hand, the first American full-time in this series, by far his best qualifying result. So Joey Hand, what can he do here at Red Bull Ring? So here we are, getting ready. Just check that grid again. Mortara and Paffett, Ekstrom, Tomczyk, Hand with his best qualifying by far, Spengler. Green and Albuquerque, Dirk Werner, the former Grand Am GT champion, around Schumacher. Farfus from Brazil, Molina, Rockefeller, Vitoris, Tambe Scheider. What has gone wrong with Timo Scheider? Roberto Meri, Andy Prio, who of course had a great start to his DTM career at Hockenheim with a 5th place, but has gone backwards from there. Rob Wickens, the single-seater ace from Canada with the Mercedes Junior car, also is struggling a little bit. And just keeping those tyres warm, and almost looks like a dustbin lid. But let's go down to the boss of BMW, Jens Marquardt. Ask him about those dustbin lids.
Yeah, I'm here with Mr. Marquardt. Now, Martin Tomczyk certainly has a lot of potential. If he didn't have that one brake mistake, he certainly could have snatched pole, I'm sure. But Martin started in P4 and Bruno Spengler starting in P6. Are you going to play it off by ear today, or do you have a tactic?
Well, I think as tight as it is, for sure we have to get through the first corners first. And we don't want to forget Joey in 5th as well. So we've got 3 cars that are very close to the front. And the target has to be to get those 3 guys close to the podium and onto the podium. And for sure we have a strategy for that, but I'm not going to tell you.
Ah, that's what I thought. One more question about the weather, completely different conditions. How are you going to handle that?
Well, we accept it as it is, hope that it's not going to change too much. Yeah, and I think we're prepared from the morning. So I think strategy-wise we're sorted out with tires and everything, and we're looking forward to a hopefully very good result.
All right, best of luck. Thank you so much, Mr. Marquardt, and back to you.
And by the way, Verena, we really like the summer dress there up in the commentary box.
Thank you.
There, Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, interestingly here at the DTM rather than Le Mans, where his Audi prototypes are taking part in the big 24-hour test day. Obviously, he'll be there for the 24-hour race.
I think he's picked a good weekend. Definitely, the Audis have definitely seen a step forward. This morning's warm-up, we saw the top 3 positions taken by Audi with Ekstrom, Mortara and Albuquerque. So Audi's looking very strong here.
Yeah, we've got to remember that Dr. Ulrich... The Red Bull Ring, we've seen a great display this morning of 3 of the former Red Bull American Sprint Cup cars. We've also seen David Coulthard out in a Red Bull car doing some impressive donuts, and certainly enjoying his experience back in a single-seater, because I can't believe he's really enjoying it starting on the back of the grid. Sean, at a place where he's had a number of podiums in the Austrian Grand Prix and won the Austrian Grand Prix here, just hasn't got it together for some reason in this DTM car, which is run by Muka Motorsport. I mean, it's a very experienced team. Okay, it is one of the satellite teams, but nevertheless, it's not good to see David at the back.
No, that's right. Having said that, he was very good in the warm-up this morning in 12th place, only 3 or 4 tenths off the leading car's time. So maybe he's found something over a race distance run that'll help him move up the field and edge further towards that top 20.
Here we are at that top corner. So you climb up the hill to this, and they run along the ledge there, almost the top of the little ridge. And most of the circuit sitting down there in the valley. 4.326 kilometres, the lap record 126.298, which was done in last year's race. Pole position 126.171. Remember that the last year's race was for the old space frame cars. There's that Red Bull statue there with the golden horns that we've been talking about earlier. And Verena said it was made out of Red Bull cans. So she must be right, but wonder why it's a rusty colour, because cans are made out of aluminium.
Oh, right, okay. Well, maybe they painted it for the day. But
They probably have.
You can really see there the gradients. We've got about 4 corners here, which are downhill braking, which what that does is lead you into a little bit too late braking, locking a tyre and making a mistake. And that's what we're going to see probably over the first couple of laps.
On board there with Martin Tomczyk, won this race last year, and it really was the event which gave him the boost that headed him towards that championship. Arno Jensen on the left-hand side, the boss of Team Rosberg, who are running the Mortara car. Remember, some of these Audis are run by satellite teams like the Mercedes. They have the satellite teams as well, like Person Motorsport, but Mortara gets there nice and early, positions the car, and you have to get it absolutely that box in the right place or a penalty will come. And Gary's only just in, it has to be said. And we're looking back now. We're looking back, quite sure whose car that was. So, closing minute before the start, there's Ralf Schumacher. Cameras recording the action. BMW, Audi are there. And getting ready for the start. There's Norbert Haug and Mr. Unger. As soon as the race gets underway, they'll head off onto the management perches there. You see 3 lights, 4, 5, and it's launch time, and off they go. And the 4th round of the DTM 2012 is underway, and Gary Paffett has made the best start, and Paffett's going to turn in first, I think, unless Mortara can get in front, and Mortara does get in front. And also we've got going wide Tomczyk in a white car, and he has to drop back to his Mortara, Paffett, Tomczyk and Ekstrom, and Spangler and Green, and Ralf Schumacher and Albuquerque, and Hand made an awful start. He's dropped back to 9th place. Joey Hand still not used to launching one of these cars off the starting position, and we got somebody well off there. Who was that went?
Looked like a Mercedes, got edged out on the grass.
Got a problem with Timo Scheider as well, I think. But yeah, we've got one off, and I don't know that was going to come on. Back on.
And they're still
side by side. Whoa! Ekstrom getting stuck in, but it's got elbowed out by Paffett, and those 2 racers respect each other. They race a lot over the years. And there is Ekstrom, the Red Bull car with the red markings on the front.
Well, what's been impressive here, Mortara got a good start but then bogged down, but then he made a real lunge around the outside of the first corner, and we've got a safety car. That must be down at the hairpin with those cars running wide, but Mortara's definitely saved himself there because he didn't get a great start but had a great braking point for the first corner.
So Joey Hand has certainly gone backwards, and yeah, that is the BMW, isn't it? Going slowly. Andy Priaulx in trouble again. We had early problems from Priaulx in Brands Hatch, and problems again. And there, Vitoris walking away. So Vitoris is out. Let's see what happens. That's Vitoris who lost it, didn't he? And then, Priaulx had nowhere to go, and Vitoris rattled it into the barrier.
I can't see who that was on the left, but again we've seen exactly the same problem in every race this weekend. I think in Formula 3 and Porsche Cup, drivers coming back on from the left, tagging somebody on the right and ending up in that piece of Armco, probably the busiest pit of Armco in the whole circuit this weekend.
Yeah, we'll see what happened to Vitoris and Timo Scheider going by. How Frey, I think that was, it just went by, did she? So Dirk Werner definitely involved in that. That was the yellow car we saw. We think Adrian Tambay is also in it. Well, that's Tambay.
That's Tambay. Just got edged on the grass under braking there. I think he's broken the rear toe link on the right-hand side, so that's probably the end of his day as well. There, it gets a bit of contact. You can see the toe link's gone there.
Just goes absolutely straight on. And then Werner was the one that was slow in the yellow car. Oof. That's how he got punted off.
Bit of contact, but to be expected really on that first corner.
And Merry also got, I know that note, Albuquerque, he was out on the dirt, came back and almost took Joey Hand out.
Yeah, hand down to get on the brakes there to avoid contact, but that's the right thing to do. If the car's in the way, there's no point.
So Vittoris is out. Tombe, I don't know if he ever got back on again. You think he's broken something in
it
the
looked like the
front.
right rear toe link has broken because he definitely had too much toe out on the
Werner
rear.
is out, and Prio presumably has come back to the pits and he's retired it. And the shrug, well, the DTM is not working out for the former touring car champion. There's Werner's car. He's made it back to the pits, but he is a retirement, so an explosive start here.
Yeah, you have to say Andy Prio was completely innocent party there. Not a lot he could do about that. He was minding his own business right on the opposite side of the track.
Mortara in the lead at the moment. Of course, we're under a yellow flag situation here. All behind the pace car. Mortara and Paffett.
I'd love to see that first corner again because it looked like Mortara was going to be dropped back to third place, but managed just to pick his braking point perfectly and just cruise around the outside.
That was Hand going past Schumacher. Obviously made an awful start. There's Albuquerque in front of him. Here we're looking back at Farfus. That's Werner is the yellow car in the middle. Rockefeller on the left-hand side. There's Tombe. And what happens to Werner? Got a bit of a shove, I think, from Rockefeller. It's all chain reaction.
Fairly innocuous there, so I don't know if there was a car problem there as well because the tap wasn't too hard.
No, it wasn't.
So I'm not quite sure what happened to Werner there. But interesting start. There's a few people who've gained a few places, but except for Hand, who's dropped a couple.
So they're having a look at it. That's Charlie Lamb from Schnitzer. There's Dr. Ulrich. And there's the Mercedes. We've got to get that out of the way.
Well, I think they're desperately talking now whether this affects any strategy changes they had made. Again, as you said earlier on, the race has been extended, so possibly this safety car period will mean that if they were looking at one extra stop, they didn't. And there's a bit of bodywork loose. I think that's Spengler's car.
Yep.
The front left bonnet catch looks to be broken, and there's a bit of movement. Now, that will affect things, and it might be something that they maybe look at mending at the first pit stop.
Now, Spengler had a problem with the front splitter in the closing stages at Brands Hatch. What have we got here in this replay? Vittoris into the barrier that shredded the bonnet of the BMW of Prio, and then the air pressure pushed it back down again. And then there was this was hairy old stuff as well.
Yeah, that's Ekstrom getting pushed before they'd even turned in by Tomczyk and then getting edged out wide. Lost a couple of places there, but again, a bit of panel pushing, I should say, rather than bumping as they come back to the next left-hander. But he was safe there. Ekstrom still in fourth place.
Charlie Lamb directing operations there at Team Schnitzer, I should say, Schnitzer, like Werner Schnitzel. And there is Mortara leading the pack. Paffett second, Tomczyk in third place, and then Ekstrom and Green. So Green moving up a couple of places. Robert Haug sitting there. There's Dr. Ulrich. He's got car in front. So it's Audi, Mercedes, BMW. Audi, Mercedes, Audi, BMW. Hand in front of Spengler. There's Tomczyk. And see what progress there is, see the flashing lights, and they've already got that Mercedes on a flatbed, and they need a place to pull off the circuit. So I think it might be another couple of laps before they fire them off again.
Yeah, I think we'll have one more lap of safety car, then we'll get going. But that's enough time to actually change your strategy here. If they can save some fuel, and keep the tyres life sensible, then they could drop a pit stop here, which will save them about 25 seconds, 30 seconds over a race run.
Now, this is an absolutely magnificent shot of this circuit here in the Styrian Mountains. Now we can go down to Vereno's already got one of the drivers involved in the incident.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm here with Dirk Werner. What exactly happened?
Difficult to say for me because I was concentrating on going to turn 2. A lot of cars, it's a very tight turn, and then I got a hit left rear, and from that point on the car wasn't to drive anymore. I tried it back to the pits, but no chance. It's a severe damage. It's very unfortunate. The weekend so far was really nice for me, and I think it would have been a good chance to get points. So now I didn't even drive a single lap in the race. It's very disappointing.
Very disappointing. Thank you very much, Dirk, and back to you guys.
Marina, maybe we can hear from Andy Perillo. So here's some replays, and we noticed Gary took a lot of curb and very nearly got involved in an incident in a replay that we've seen.
Yes, I mean, Tomczyk was very aggressive there. And I think there's a few of them being very aggressive there, I think. But as they come back on track. But Tomczyk was definitely giving Gary a helping hand out of the hairpin and then helped Ekstrom off at the next corner.
And that shot we just seen was Spengler rubbing bodywork.
Yeah, Tomczyk's definitely gained there as well. He's been very forceful. Disappointed with his qualifying performance. I know he was yesterday, and you expect to be a couple of places further up. He's very keen on pushing that BMW forward.
Yeah, of course, great memories of this track where he's won in the past. So, Mortara, the Geneva-based driver, let's see what he can do. Can he hold on at the front? This was the start. And certainly excellent start for Gary, but then he sort of lost the momentum somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you see here, Mortara really picks his braking point. I think Gary's looking at Ekstrom behind him too much, and Mortara just drives around the outside of both of them, really. But Mortara's got a good jump, but then bogged down, but then made up for it with his braking point. So the lights are out in the safety car, so Mortara now is looking to back up the field, picking his point to nail the throttle to try and get a break. I mean, Paffett's very experienced. He's not going to be falling for any tricks that the young Italian can throw at him. But again, looking here, I think he might have gone there. Looks like he might have done. If he has done, he's got a good jump on Paffett there.
Yeah, the yellow flag's still waving there, of course.
Yeah, no, it's fine to go as long as he doesn't pass the safety car before pit entrance. And he's got a great safety car restart, and he did cap Paffett napping there. So great job by Mortara.
Edo Mortara in the black and red Audi in the lead here. Jamie Green up to 5th place and has gone back to 7th at the start. The rest of them through the first turn, climbing up the hill. Two girls in 17th and 18th places. And everybody in line astern here.
There's Tomczyk and a couple of cars were lining each other up for an overtake into the hairpin. There they are, side by side at the
Albuquerque
apex.
just going down the inside. Was that Albuquerque?
Yeah, I think he was just edging him wide. He was defending on the inside, but that set up an overtake behind, which I think is Spengler having a look to get past.
Ralf Schumacher is in the top 10, and there's that splitter still sparking. We did see quite a lot of the BMW sparking. There's Spengler on the inside. That's Spengler going down the inside of Albuquerque.
Yeah, Albuquerque missed his braking point, went wide, took Joey Hand with him. I think he followed him in, and Spengler just took both of them in one go.
He didn't pass both of them. Here's the view from Ralf Schumacher. Ralf Schumacher tucked up the boot of the Californian's car.
And Albuquerque's car seems to be a bit of a handful. I don't know if he's got any damage from that early shenanigans at the first corner, but he definitely seems to be struggling to keep it on the track.
Yeah,
and Hand's being held up here.
Yeah, defending Hand there.
And he's off again and back on the track. They've got to get past him quickly, and Ralph's losing a little bit of time, being hung out to dry there as well, I think. Yeah, he's lost 2 or 3 places running wide.
Yeah, drafting going past him like a train. Ralph must have a problem, surely.
I think he just got caught up behind Albuquerque going wide, who again is still hanging on at the front, but he's spending most of his time off the track. And Hand sizing him up, possible overtake coming into the hairpin, but behind him we've got about 6 or 7 cars who are jostling for position, and Hand's right up behind the back of Albuquerque, who defends on the inside, and Hand looking to the outside, but hasn't made it stick. But behind them is that Molina, I think.
It is, and the Rockenfeller's there pushing hard. The yellow bonnet just going past Roberto Merri. So Rocky moves up to 11th. And there is Hand, and he's still trying to get past the Audi in front of him. And Molina's tucked up behind them. And Merri and Rocky still going wheel to wheel, but Rocky's got the advantage now as they dive back down the side of the valley.
This is fantastic racing. They're giving each other space, but they're desperate to get past. They don't want to lose any time in these early laps, which is very difficult to get back later in the race.
Timo Scheider moved up a couple of spots. Timo Scheider now in 14th place on board with Ralf Schumacher.
So we're going to overtake here. That's Hand trying to get round the outside of Albuquerque. Pushes him out wide. Hand doesn't get the traction out. Again, has to damp the brakes by the look of it.
Well, he went onto the bit of the gravel at the end of that runoff area, didn't he? And that lost him some momentum. And then that's how Spengler nipped by. Just saw his chance, went past a pair of them.
I said thanks very much. And I think Hand was watching.
Yeah. And here's the on-board version of it.
Yeah, and Spengler just says thanks very much. I'll have those 2 places.
He's on the perfect racing line in those 2 words.
And again, this is what happened. This is what backed Ralph up here. Ralph was tucked in. I think that's him tucked in just on the outside of Molina. Gets pushed wide on the exit and then loses 4 or 5 places.
Just shows how close it is here in the DTM round 4 at the Red Bull Ring. This circuit in the valley.
So again, Mortara still in the lead, but he lost about 4 tenths on that first sector. So whether he went wide at the first corner, which has been the most common place to lose a few tenths in that first sector over the weekend. Well,
Albuquerque's not dropped back from Spengler. He seems to be attacking him again now, look.
Yeah, maybe a problem with the brake balance on that car. Didn't have that quite set up, and he was struggling to find it. But again, we've got a car off there on the outside. That's Scheider, who was going well, so it's disappointing for him. Again, not a great weekend, but race pace was looking stronger.
It's just what? It's Timo Scheider going past Farfus.
So again, side by side is this downhill braking.
Farfus just clipped him now, 6 to 1 and half.
I would have said so. It looked like Scheider moved across slightly under braking. Again, they're both quite committed. It didn't look like Farfus moved across on him as much. More Scheider went to the left under braking.
Just that little tap, but still we've got this dogfight going on here with these 4 cars, and Albuquerque looks as if he's going to go past Bruno Spengler. Joey Hands are going to try and take advantage of this, and they're 3 wide here.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Spengler defended the inside. Albuquerque went around the outside. It's still going on. And Hands around the outside of both of them. But he's going to get left on the outside here. I think Spengler might hang on to it.
And Spengler gets a bump from Albuquerque, and Hand goes wide. Oh, magnificent racing here at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, Joey Hands definitely made up for that earlier error of following Albuquerque off the track, because I think he should make this stick, as the other 2 are still side by side into the next corner. Spengler might lose another place to Molina just behind him here. Again, the Audi looks like it's tucked in behind him now.
And don't discount Rockenfeller, who's having a good run as well. He's right in that pack in the yellow and green car. And we took a look back at him now, and we look forward. There is Rockenfeller.
Again, a tricky corner, that long left-hander. They tend to lose a little bit of downforce, but a bit of jostling for position here, but there looks to be a fair gap. But again, we've got Spengler just holding that train. Albuquerque's now just starting to squeak ahead of them, and just ahead of Albuquerque we've got...
And then we got that big gap then to the rest of the field. And here there's Spengler. Look at Rockenfeller. Looks as if he's going to line up the man in front of him, who's Molina.
And again, great helicopter shot. Just shows you exactly, you'll see the concertina effect as they hit the brake pedal. Again, who's that having a dive up the inside? That's from a long way back, a little bit of contact. But again, Mary gives him a little bit of space, but I think he's got the extra run. Yeah, he's done well there.
He got past Rockenfeller in the process. And there's Wickens in 15th place. Haven't mentioned David Coulthard. That's him with the Mercedes-Benz with the yellow and red. And he's racing with Farfus. We saw him do lots of laps in a Red Bull Formula 1 car. Must have fired up his enthusiasm again as we go on board with Ralf Schumacher, and Mortara just keeping the lead at 1 second over Paffett, with Tomczyk third, and then Ekstrom and Green, and then mid-pack all this battle going on, nose to tail racing.
Yeah, I mean, just one mistake will lose you about 4 or 5 places here, so it's very important when you're trying to attack not to let the guy behind have a go at you on the rebound.
So Mortara certainly got over his nerves, I think, that he talked about at the beginning of the race, or before the start of the race. So Mortara, just to open the gap up a little bit over Paffett. Remember, they've got to make 2 pit stops. The pit stop window is yet to open.
So just a perfect start for Mortara, really lets him settle his nerves down and see what's happening. But again, we've got a replay of bit of contact there, and again this is Molina pushing Spengler. A bit of bump drafting, I think they call it over in the States.
They do.
And as they come down the inside, but it doesn't actually help him in the end. He still drops back behind it, but Hand did a great job, so that helps Spengler keep that position. Again, they bump over the speed trap. Hand was definitely, while the two in front were looking at each other's wing mirrors, Hand popped round the outside, and he definitely makes this move stick. Here's Molina with this bump draft, pushes him through, and Spengler says, thanks very much, but I've got a break now, mate.
He'll be coming back at the end of the race in deep restraint. They've got a lot of horsepower, you know.
Good straight line speed when I've got Audi pushing my rear bumper.
Charlie Lamb not happy, is he? Veteran of so many successes over the years for BMW. And again, the view from Schumacher. He's got former Formula One rival David Coulthard going past, and Coulthard side by side with Wickens, and Coulthard has moved up from the back of the grid to 13th.
Yeah, he's showing that pace that he showed in the warm-up this morning, so great job from DC, just needs to keep it going. I think there's a top 10 position in that car today.
Yeah, I think so. Mortara.
Still this gaggle here, it's like a Formula Ford race, fantastic stuff, and again, looks like Molina's under pressure. Is it Albuquerque behind him? I think it is, and they're side by side into the first corner, but this will allow the cars behind to have a run coming down to the hairpin.
And I noticed that Molina's lost one of the dive planes off the left-hand front of the car. Pit stop window opens at lap 12, and I wonder how many of these we'll see dive in to try and get out of this battle. As that Merry going to the inside. Merry just going by.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Dived from a long way back. It'd be great to see that from maybe the onboard or the track shot, because he really did sort of catch him napping there. Didn't expect that to be happening at all. So he's diving inside. Again, those dive planes are missing. Probably wedged in the back of Spengler's BMW.
Yeah, this is the best performance we've seen from Merry, the reigning F3 Euro champion. New to these DTM cars, finding his feet as we thought he would. And there's Rockenfeller in front of Molina, and Hand in 6th place, and Hand quite a long way down the road behind Green. We've got the first 5 have broken away, and then we got this titanic struggle here from 6th through to about 14th. Pit stop window is open.
Now this could be a time where some of these guys, and again, so here we go, a couple of the guys in, because they're stuck in traffic. It would be good now to make an early pit stop, get some fresh set of tyres on there, get back on the track, and maybe make some places in the clean air.
Yeah, and there's the first one, Albuquerque, going in, and we should see some 4.5, would like to be a little bit quicker than that.
And Ralph said again, I'm sure that's to do with the traffic. If they can make an early stop and get some quick, fast laps in clean air, that means they may jump 3 or 4 cars who are stuck in that dogfight that's happening in the midfield. Yeah,
because that certainly slows them down, that dogfight. Lap times at the moment, Mortara is doing 1:27.7. So they're just about a second and a half slower than they were in qualifying. Remember, they're still full of fuel. No added fuel at the pit stops this season, unlike the past. They used to start basically half full and then squirt 20 litres in and then another 20 litres. Don't do that anymore. See the heat haze coming off the cars here on a beautiful late spring day here in Austria.
And this battle here, we've got Ekstrom starting to push Tomczyk as they run slightly wide. There's Paffett moving slightly wide. He starts to clean his tyres up. But Ekstrom was pushing very hard on Tomczyk. Behind him, they've got Jamie Green, who's just done the fastest first sector and a lap time that's 5-6 tenths quicker than the 2 cars ahead. So he's pushing really hard and showing more of the pace that we were expecting to in qualifying.
We've seen Roberto Merry being a bit boisterous, and he's just been given a black and white warning flag, actually, for leaving the track. We've seen that in quite a lot of the support races. And
so that's Hand and Spengler coming through.
5.7, you see, not really quick enough. 5.5 for Spengler. BMW not up to the speed of some of the other teams with the pit stops. We have seen 3-second pit stops from the likes of the App team in the past, and also Phoenix Racing are aces at pit. Oh, that was close. Susie Wolf very nearly being taken out there, and that happened so quickly. I wonder if that was an unsafe release there.
Well, if it wasn't, I think it was very close.
From Molina.
It'll be interesting to see if the early pitters manage to jump some of that midfield battle like Hand and Spengler, who made a pit stop a lap later. I'm not quite sure if they will have done, but it'll be interesting to see. Very close. Again, it's such a confined pit lane. You've got to be so careful in those sort of positions.
Yeah.
But both drivers did well to avoid an incident. But I'm sure the stewards will be having a look back at that and making a decision.
Car number 10 under investigation.
Always incredible how quickly they can do these pit stops. And again, a little bit of damage. I think they were just adjusting the bumper and the bonnet there on Spengler's car, which made his stop a little bit slower.
Well, 10 is Molina, so that under investigation must be for that release there. And Mortara, you know, is increasing his lead at the front. He's gone to a lead of 1.5 seconds, but Paffett just on the fastest first sector of everyone, gone purple. Is Paffett now going to have a bit of a push?
Yeah, before the pit stop, he wants to close that gap before the pit stop to make. Again, Mortara's quite inexperienced, maybe with this pit stop situation, and that's the time when Gary could really put the pressure on, and maybe the race leader will make a mistake.
Yeah, but Mortara had a season of doing it last year. I think he'll be all right in the pits. Oh, and Susie Wolf has spun it in the TV Spiel film car, and she heads back again. That'll probably drop her behind her rival Rahal Fry. Here she is. Just got away from her, didn't it?
Yeah, just lost the back end. She's pushing on, trying to gain a bit of space. And again, I think she's a bit wound up after that pit stop. But unfortunately, I think she could have waited. I wonder if no further action from that pit stop. So maybe that's the message she just got, and it got her a little bit wound up.
Timo Scheider got a good view of it as well. So Mortara in the lead, the former F3 Euro champion, double Macau Grand Prix winner, looking for his first victory in the DTM.
Well, Albuquerque benefited in that early pit stop when I think he jumped Spengler. Coulthard also jumped forward. He's in 14th. Hand is the leading car who's already made a pit stop, but Paffett is still pushing. He did the fastest race that last lap. Having said that, Hand has just done the fastest lap of the race. Again, those new tighter car, brand new tyres, so it's interesting to see, and the leaders will definitely be seeing that Hand has now got, you know, the fastest car on the track, and those new tyres are definitely helping. So I would expect a pit stop in the next couple of laps from the leaders.
Yeah, Mortara in the lead, and of course the lead 1.3 seconds now. Could change in that pit stop just in the blink of an eye. Schumacher on board with Ralph, the younger of the two famous Schumacher brothers. And Ralph down there now in 15th place. DC is 14th. He's made a pit stop. But Mortara still lapping at the moment, happily.
And Mortara's come back at him now, and he's just done fastest lap of the race. So he doesn't seem to be under pressure. Definitely seems to be handling it well in Audi, and everything that Gary Paffett can throw at him, he seems to have the answer for.
Yep.
4 tenths quicker on that last lap than Paffett, but Paffett again has responded. He's gone fastest overall in the first sector, so it's a game of chess at the moment. Who's going to blink first and come into the pits?
Yeah, intriguing situation here. Team Rosberg running the Mortara car.
And we've got Rockenfeller, who's just come out of the pits as well. See where he drops, and Wickens now, of the ones who hasn't stopped. They've made pit stops, so let's see where they come out on the track. Here he is. Oh, a lot of damage on that Audi.
Yeah. I think it's cosmetic though, isn't it? The plastic grille. There the Audi flags are waved, and that was a good stop from Rockenfeller.
Yeah, Rocky had a good stop. Again, that's just what can happen, but you just never know where those bits of bodywork are going to end up if they go back into the radiator area.
Here's DC trying hard on Spengler, I think.
Yeah, he's made it stick as well.
Yeah.
and Ralph looks around the outside. So great race from DC at the moment. He really seems to have got the hang of it.
I've got to think that Spengler's been affected by that splitter problem.
Yes, definitely.
Again.
I mean, they did do some repairs at the front side, but having said that, it wasn't really affecting his pace before he had the pit stop. So, I think it's just so tight and so close that once you get somebody tucked up under your bumper and alongside you, you just get edged further backwards.
Merry has made his pit stop. We've got about 6 or 7 of them yet to come in.
So this will be interesting because Merry was around about this sort of battle, so we'll see here where he comes out on the pits. The guys with the new tyres, I think, will have maybe jumped ahead of some of the later pit stoppers.
Yeah, from a championship standpoint, this is not so bad for Paffett. OK, he's in 2nd place, but his main rival in the championship, Spengler, is quite a way down the field now, appearing to have some problems with the handling of the car. And of course, Matara is not a man who's scored many points yet this season, so this is playing into Gary's hands. But of course, he would love to get past Matara and make it 3 wins out of 4 this season.
Now, I've just seen Molina come into the pit lane out of our commentary box here, and he'd already made his pit stop, so he's back in again, and they're working on that car, if I can see properly. But again, here's another battle.
There's Merry going past Rockefeller, just a tiny puff of smoke from the tyre. Here's Coulthard.
And then we've got Tom Check here. He's come in the pit, so he's the first of the front runners making their pit stop. I think this is to the benefit of
3.6.
Good stop, and also he'll have the benefit of these fresh tyres. I think he might jump a position here and maybe jump extra.
See where Tom Chick cycles back in. Remember, Hand are going to be there somewhere. Well, Tom Chick got a nice clear track in front of him. That's exactly what you want. That's what, when we talk about track position, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, the team who have been looking at that didn't want to drop him back into a battle, wanted to drop him back into clear air. I think he's going to jump Ekstrom, unless Ekstrom responds this lap and brings it, and the team bring him in. And Paffett's pushing now as well. I think we're getting very close to pit stops now. Paffett wants to get as close behind that leading Audi so he can take advantage of any slow pit stop. And
that's the Paffett crew
team
coming out. And see, they share cars. The team crew service 2 cars. As Ralph goes past Spengler, who's definitely going backwards now.
Yeah, I think Bruno has got a problem, as you said earlier on, with that BMW from the contact earlier on, because normally you'd see him, marching his way forward, and Paffett's into the pits now.
Let's have a look at this. Feels so slow when you're on that rev limiter, pit speed limiter. HWA crew go to work. 3.0 best stop so far, and that can make the difference. Let's see what Matara's pit stop is. That really puts the pressure on the Team Rosberg boys.
Yeah, definitely is good stop there as well, and he's come out well clear of Tom Check.
Yeah.
But actually, he has gained a little bit of time, I think, there. And again, Tom Check's tyres will be up to temperature. He'll have had a good feeling, so he'll probably gain another 2 or 3 tenths this lap as Gary gets up to speed.
So Tomczyk having a very good run here for BMW, the man who won here a year ago, and that was the Ralph pass on the, we think, wounded Spengler BMW bank.
Yeah,
black BMW.
Bruno didn't defend that too hard. He knew that was coming, so it'd be better just for him just to keep up a consistent race pace and see what he's doing. Now, this is Matara. It's important for him to keep his pace up. Don't let it, drop, because he hasn't got that Mercedes pushing him anymore. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him come into the pits this lap to respond to Paffett.
So, Edo Mortara with French and Italian parents. Franco-Italian call it, but spends most of his time in Geneva.
There's Green across the grass coming into the pits.
Late decision to come in.
Gained. Now I think this will get him possibly jump again. Tom Check's pushing hard. He's fast in the first sector out on the circuit. Yeah. It's going to be tight with these guys battling for the podium positions.
Whoops! Squeal of tyres. Something like a movie, wasn't it?
And that's the sort of thing that does.
A good stop. 2 seconds can't be right. Can't be right. They can't do it in 2 seconds.
I think what that will do, because he came in slightly out of position because he locked up. So let's see. That is, I'm sure, that's Tom Check going through.
Well, that's Farfus down there.
So he hasn't pitted yet, Farfus.
No.
So this isn't for position here. So it'd be interesting to see what Mortara does, because I think that, having said that, you know, the times from Paffett and Mortara are pretty consistent. You know, so Mortara's holding his own. So, you know, he's staying out there and he's not losing any time at the minute. So he's looking very strong.
Yeah. Ekstrom yet to make his pit stop. Said Farfus. Timo Scheider stayed out on a long first stint, going almost halfway on the tyres. So a short middle stint, I would think. To see that heat haze either side of the car where the exhaust come out.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I mean, there's an Audi 1-2, but there's Ekstrom into the pits and Mortara into the pits. So both the Audis in. He's going to be desperate to see where they come out.
Right, that pressure, as I said before, is on the Team Rosberg boys. And let's see how quickly they can do this, how they can get those 4 tyres on. And it's a pretty good one, so... Lost 0.6 of a second, didn't he, to Paffett? But of course, it's not only that, it's how quick they come in and how quick they get out.
He looked a little bit steady coming into his pit box, but I think that's Paffett there coming up into the first corner.
Yeah, Paffett's coming up, but can Paffett jump him here as they could climb up the hill? Paffett's obviously got the momentum and got the tyres nicely warmed in here. But I think Mortara's just hung on.
Just about, but it is very close.
Paffett's going to be right up his back bumper now.
So I think we saw that Tomczyk has jumped Ekstrom in that, as I thought he might do, because he came in earlier for those new tyres as Ekstrom gets up to speed. So Tomczyk up to 3rd now, Ekstrom down to 4th. So again, that early stop has paid off for the BMW team.
So on our screen at the moment, we've got the top 3 here, all in your picture at once. Mortara, Paffett and Tomczyk. 3 different manufacturers. Then it's Ekstrom and Green. Timo Scheider is shown in 6th place, but he's going to drop 20 seconds or so when he makes that pit stop. And where will that drop Timo Scheider? Probably down to about 11th.
Interestingly, Scheider has had good pace despite going off earlier on in the race. His lap times have been very, very good, so he'll be very disappointed that he spent a lot of that time in the gravel. But Paffett's looking strong here. He's really hunting Mortara down. And again, he needs to settle those tyres in. Paffett's got the experience of the next couple of laps.
Yeah, but Tomczyk has just gone purple in the first sector. And Tomczyk gets the fastest lap of the race. 27.062.
Coming there, Timo Scheider comes in again. A little bit of locking of the rear brakes there as Coulton. It's unfortunate for DC because he was running well. I think he had Ralph tucked up behind him, locked up the rear brakes, slid the car wide. Unfortunate, but if he can just keep that going, just keep it going, David. You've got good race pace. Keep pushing.
So there is Paffett, and I think he's closer now. Paffett really pushing Mortara. Mortara, it is a sophomore year of the DTM, and now he's got one of the most experienced men in these cars right on his bonnet. Can Gary Paffett look for the inside there? He's really pushing hard. Paffett wants to make it number 3 win of the season out of 4 starts.
Yeah, Mortara doesn't seem as comfortable as he was earlier in the race on the previous set of tyres, but I think if he just settles himself down, he's got the pace in that car to carry on pulling ahead.
DC in the pits and retiring.
That's a shame. I think that was something to do with that locking rear at the end. Maybe it was a little bit more than just a brake bias problem, maybe a little bit of a diff problem as well. Shame, because probably his strongest showing of the year so far.
Oh, without question, yeah. One of his strongest showings. Gone well on a couple of the street tracks in the past. Got in the points at the Norris Ring and at the race we had in Shanghai a couple of years back.
Mortara here now. Maybe he's had that problematic first lap on a fresh set of tyres under his belt, because he now looks a little bit safer in the lead there. Paffett's not looming quite so large in his mirrors, but again, the man on the move is Tomczyk, and Green is looking very strong, pushing Ekstrom for 4th place as well.
Yeah, Mortara, what can he do now? He's got Gary Paffett, former champion of the DTM, all over him. And Gary, very much the man of the season, has another look down the inside. But from the helicopter you see, it would be a big ask to go diving through there. So now he'll just be assessing what Mortara is doing, see where his strengths are, and there Wickens just dropping back. Not sure quite what happened with Wickens there.
looks like coming out, possibly out of the first corner, ran wide because he's lost a little bit of time down that back straight. Again, Robert Wickens has been right in amongst it. Oh, again here, a little bit of contact. Is that with Spengler?
Yeah, the two Canadians get together.
Pushed it wide.
And R04 gets advantages from that.
Again, launches himself over the bumps. So you can see right under the seat, underneath them, the flat floor of that Mercedes, but comes back on the track with Frey just on his left. But again, a little bit of contact. Spengler wasn't quite so happy to let his fellow countryman pass there.
Yeah, really struggling. Dr. Ulrich goes, ooh. There's Arno Jensen from Team Rosberg. And there, the Tomczyk BMW is right with them.
Yeah, it's gone in a couple of laps from Mortara looking to be under pressure from Paffett to be under pressure from Tomczyk. And I know he was disappointed with qualifying yesterday. You could tell he felt he could possibly have a pole position winning car, except for that mistake at the first corner. That BMW's looking strong.
Yeah, and BMW looking strong, done a magnificent job since they announced their return to the DTM, come up with a very strong car. Yes, some of the work done for them, the chassis and the rear wing, but of course they developed this engine from scratch. And there's Rahal Frey, is one of her best races. Look, she's just about to go by Spengler. She's got Robert Wickens behind her, and that's the battle for 13th, 14th, 15th places.
Yeah, Wickens is stuck behind again, a little bit more button drafting, I think. But again, Spengler holds the inside. Looks like Wickens has got up the inside there. Frey's left out to dry. Hung out to dry, sorry, but again holds back, doesn't let the boys bully her, does she? She gave Spengler a good old whack there as she came back onto the track and said, no thanks very much, I'm not having any of that. But again, she's on the outside here. Possibly Wickens might look the inside. No, he doesn't. Bit of a lock up from Spengler. Again, that car, I think from earlier damage, isn't handling to his liking. But Frey's driving a fantastic race.
Yeah, well, she was a winner in the German Formula 3 Championship. She's raced at Le Mans in a Ford GT. She's got some wide experience. And definitely a learning year last year for her. Took over from Catherine Legg. But this is one of the best performances we've seen from Rahal Frey. There is Mortara still under pressure. Past the halfway mark here. And it's still, well, anyone's from this top three, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Interestingly, Timo Scheider again, he's in 10th place despite that trip for the gravel. He's just done the fastest lap of the race, so he's really strong. I mean, he will be disappointed at the end because he's lost around about 10 or 15 seconds going through the gravel, but he's got good race pace.
And again, Ekstrom in 4th place and Green in 5th there, separated by just under a second, and they're not that far back from this leading trio. There's the leading trio. Did we just see them come into view there?
Yeah, and both Ekstrom and Green have got faster lap time pace than the three ahead of them, so they're gradually edging up behind them. It'll be interesting. I think we're going to have a 5-car battle for the lead by the time we get to second pit stop.
I think we could.
And this battle's still raging. Frey still holding off Wickens. Again, looked really strong over the first couple of laps. Seemed to be pushing himself forward, but again, got edged down onto the gravel earlier on in the race and then hasn't really recovered from that.
And what about the man from Sacramento, California, Joey Hand, who won the GT category at the Sebring 12 Hours this year for BMW? Maybe something of a surprise selection into the BMW squad. Most people thought that Jörg Muller would be part of this team as Albuquerque comes in with the damaged grille for his second pit stop. And now we can hear from David Coulthard. And he was just going so well, was David. Disappointed, I'm sure.
Yes, he really was going so well. David, you had such good pace there, and then I guess you had a mistake with the brakes. Was it a technical problem, or did you just make a mistake there?
Can't hear anything you're saying.
Can you just explain what happened?
I retired the car because we have a problem with the braking system, so the linkage or something. Suddenly I had a lot of rear brake balance, so I think it went to 60 or something %, which normally you're a lot further forward, so I don't know, they'll strip it down, find what broke, and then that was Spielberg.
But that really was a great fight with Bruno and Ralf there until then, so I guess it is a big shame.
Yeah, you know, I prefer that I didn't touch with Ralf and touch with Bruno. but you have to make a judgment on the brakes to try and go for it, otherwise you never overtake. I went for it, and then unfortunately I touched with both of them, so I'm sorry for that. You know, it's not my intention, but you know, I think they've maybe both touched cars in the past as well, so hopefully they'll understand.
I'm sure they will. Thank you very much, David. And back to you guys.
Good work, Verena, and DC. Well, his body language is full of disappointment. Joey Hans blasts it out of the pits there and leaves 2 black rubber lines as he accelerates away. We're into the second phase of pit stops now, and still the Mortara-Paffett battle continues at the front, and now it's back down to 0.9 of a second, but Tomczyk just gone fastest of all in the first sector.
And this is a battle here for position. Albuquerque pitted a lap earlier, Hand if he can hold the inside, but no, it doesn't look like Albuquerque's tucked back in front of him. So that was again an example of pit slightly earlier, you're going to get a run on the guy ahead of you. And again, Albuquerque, oh no, Hand's got a good drive out of there, so great job by Joey Hand. If he can just keep this inside line, he's going to get his position back again, who was running on the road a good 6th place before the pit stop.
Well, Joey Hand, one of those guys that certainly wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's really had to work for this factory BMW ride. He was around the American scene for years, just trying to pick up the odd ride and earn the odd $1 or $2 for 5 or 6 years until he finally got picked up by BMW. He's deserving this. Paffett makes his second pit stop. This is a vital one. Can they serve him in 3 seconds? Another great stop from HWA, and this could help him. And again, the pressure goes back onto the Team Rosberg squad. So we'll have to see what Mortara does. But Paffett has had 2 cracking pit stops. And there is Hand now in front of Albuquerque.
Yes, I mean, they've done the same again, but Mortara, I would have thought they wouldn't leave him out quite as long as they did last time, because he struggled at the first lap and he was under pressure from Paffett, and I'm sure the next time Paffett won't be quite so gentlemanly, if you like, when he's looking at the rear bumper.
Rockefeller in, Schumacher in, and of course out and climbing up the hill. This pit lane, quite a steep incline at the end of the pit lane, and then cycling back as again continuing to climb up the side of the valley. Mortara in the lead at the moment from Tomczyk by the fact that they haven't made the pit stops, and somebody's going to get a penalty, I think.
Car number 17, drive-through penalty, non-respect to the pit lane speed limit, it says on the sheet here. So it's car 17, so we've got Rahal Frey.
Oh, disappointing after her good run.
So here's race leader. As I said, they haven't left him out quite as long as last time. They brought him in earlier. This should help him keep the lead.
If the pit stop's 4.2, 4.3, because he's going to lose the lead, isn't he? And it's 4.4, and they're going to come out. I suggest that when they go up the hill, they'll be side by side with Paffett, as long as Paffett had got a good entry. And here comes Paffett, and will the lead change here? And there's Paffett, and he's coming, and he's coming, and he's got the drive up the hill, and Paffett is going to take the lead, surely. No, he isn't.
Mortara hasn't got the straight line speed. No. He's got to hold the inside. Don't let Paffett down the inside. He has led him there. That's a mistake.
Right, nearly touched, and Paffett has to go onto the grass to miss him.
He left that chop too late there, really. Should have done it a little bit earlier, but Paffett's got the drive here. Mortara's got to get across to the right to defend that inside. But again, a little bit of problem at the pit stop. The right front gun man had a struggle getting the gun onto the front nut, and I think that's what cost him a little bit of time. And again, you can see how close it is. Half a second in that pit stop has meant that he's massively under pressure for the race lead.
No more pit stops between these two. This is a race to the finish now, and we've still got 17, 18 laps to go, a long way. And can Mortara, the man based in Geneva, soak up the pressure from one of the most experienced men in motor racing, certainly one of the most experienced drivers in the DTM, a man who's respected mightily at McLaren for all the work he's done there. As we get the 3rd place Tomczyk in, we get Ekstrom in.
Well, he's currently a 1-2 on the grid, so let's see where they come out. It's going to be tight. Ekstrom possibly may get right in amongst that lead battle.
Schumacher, Green rather in. Ekstrom at 3.9. What's happening out on the track with our 2 leaders?
And there they are. That is...
And that's it. See, Tomczyk had a good start. And is Gary going to fall behind Tomczyk? It looks like it. And Tomczyk is into 2nd place, the man who won here last year. And he's going to push the Audi hard. what a fight we've got here.
Absolutely fantastic. Tomczyk was really nailed a couple of quick laps in while these two were pit stopping, as we get a massive power slide from Mortara in the Audi coming out of that hairpin. He's really feeling the pressure from the BMW and Mercedes behind him. Paffett will be amazed that Tomczyk's jumped him in that stop.
Yeah.
And there's Tomczyk having a look down the inside, a bit of contact.
Push, yeah, contact there. And can Paffett get down the inside now? Fabulous racing here, and you know Ekstrom isn't that far behind them either, and they're rubbing wheels now. And Tomczyk and Paffett, old rivals, and a lot of respect between the pair of them.
Fantastic racing. Mortara gave him just enough room so they didn't get pushed out onto the dirt, but Tomczyk again, full respect, not just to clatter into the side of him. It shows, you know, when you're driving against top class guys, that's the difference.
There is Tomczyk. Paffett just seemed to have lifted off a little bit, just take a bit of a breather, assess the situation. And you know, behind there in fourth place, we've got Ekstrom, and he's a great racer, Ekstrom. Can't discount him from this yet. And then Jamie Green has got them in his sights as well.
Well, in both the earlier sectors of this race, Ekstrom has started maybe slightly slower off the pit stop. And here's the overtake here. And again,
well, he did hit him quite hard, didn't he?
Fairly hard, but I would say that's Rubbings racing, I would have said there, because both of them knew what was going on. And again, quite a bit of respect. Came from a long way back. And again, Mortara did well to hang on to it without losing
the old
any
opposite
time.
lock on pretty quickly.
I think he knew that hit was coming for about a second before he actually got it, I think. But fantastic racing. You don't get any better than that.
You don't usually see Dr. Ulrich in the Team Rosberg pit, but there he is today.
Well, this shows how close it was. Then Tomczyk coming out of the pits from his pit stop just nearly gets ahead of Mortara, and I think that would have been game over, and Tomczyk would have had the race in the bag. But Paffett would have gone, where's that BMW come from? You know, I was nearly taking the lead the lap before, gets pushed onto the grass at the hairpin, shows you how tight it is, but Mortara holds his head and holds the lead.
And you got to take your hat off to Team RMG, this new team which was created to run two of these cars. Tomczyk is driving for. Run a lot of guys, ex-Toyota Formula 1 guys in that Team RMG.
And again, Ekstrom is starting to close them down a little bit. The car's ahead. He's got a lap time, probably a tenth or two quicker than Paffett. Again, Paffett, compared to the last couple of sessions, he doesn't seem quite as comfortable now with the Mercedes on those last set of tyres.
There is sometimes slight differences in the tyres, and sort of multiplied by the driver's brain really sometimes. Mortara, Tomczyk, Paffett, Ekstrom, Green, and sixth place is Timo Scheider, who hasn't made a second pit stop. So once Scheider and Farfus have stopped, Hand will move up to sixth place. But it's these five who have definitely broken away from the rest of the field as Ekstrom starts to close up. And as you said before, Sean, Timo Scheider is putting in some very good lap times, and that will at least help him towards the next race, because that's a very specialist event at the little walled circuit in Nuremberg, the Norris Ring.
Yeah, I mean, he has been putting his equal to the leaders' lap times really all the way through, just except for that trip into the gravel. He'd be in here battling for, you know, definitely a top 10 position, and I think he'll still get a top 10 position. But Paffett now looks to maybe settle down, maybe regrouping a little bit. Knew the attack again. Tomczyk possibly looking after tyres here, because I think he possibly had the pace to beat Mortara here in the earlier sessions. He's been looking very strong as Farfus comes in for his pit stop. And who have we got here? So this is Mortara and Paffett. This is the moment now. Mortara really, he should have defended on the inside much earlier, because he allows Paffett half a chance. And really, if Gary had been a little bit, you know, if he wasn't thinking of championship points, I'm sure Mortara would have been in the wall there.
Yeah.
So Mortara was lucky to get away with it, and a little. Thanks very much for pushing me on the grass. You can have that one back, I think he's saying there.
So Mortara looking for his first victory in the DTM, and there is Spengler, and that looks as if that's the end of Bruno Spengler. I mean, they're putting another set of front tyres on, but yeah, he's out of the car. That's the end of Spengler. lengths away. Obviously been struggling with that.
Well, and also Gary Paffett, as Jamie Green running very wide on the grass there as well. But Paffett will be aware of that. I'm sure his team will let him know, because obviously he's pushing him hard in the championship stakes. So that actually makes Gary think, well, actually P3 is good for me, it's good for the championship. But I'm sure he'd love to be winning around here as well.
Yep.
We've got Ralph Schumacher pushing Rockenfeller.
No, Farfus that is.
Oh, is it Farfus?
Yeah,
Sorry,
Farfus.
right,
There's Farfus and Merry just behind him. And the gap, 0.9 of a second between Mortara and Tomczyk, 0.6 back to Paffett. There is Roberto Merry, still learning these cars. Timo Scheider staying out, and the pit window is going to close pretty soon, so he will have to come in.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get as many quick laps under his belt. Again, he's just gone fastest in the first sector there, Scheider, to try and jump hand for that 6th place. But it is going to be quite tight, I've got to say. But he's definitely looking at getting in the top 10, let's put it that way. He's got Albuquerque and Rockenfeller that he's looking to jump here if he can put some quick laps in before his pit stop.
And Mr. Jensen on the pit wall going to be jumping up and down, because I don't think his team's ever won one of these. One in Formula 3.
Mortara's now starting to ease ahead of Tomczyk, 10th by 10th. It's a very, very strong drive.
Yeah, just 2 PBs from Mortara in sections 1 and 2. This is going to be a good strong lap from him. Just pull out the lead a little bit more. PB, personal best that is. And Timo Scheider just gone purple in the first sector. So those tyres, you might have been on them a long time, it still seems to be working pretty well.
Doesn't seem to be struggling too much out there, so if he can leave that as long as he can, his chance of jumping a couple in the pit stop. Somebody who's looking looking stronger is Ekstrom as the session goes on, and Paffett's starting to struggle a little bit, but Ekstrom started to push that last lap and is getting a little bit closer to Gary. He'll be keen to make it an Audi 1-3 here today.
Finally, Timo Scheider does come in.
Well, let's see where he comes out. Great stop.
Yeah.
Not as quick as some of the other ones we've seen, but I think good enough to get him in. And here we go.
He's going to come out by Farfus, isn't he?
Yeah, this is Hand and Albuquerque, so he has actually jumped Hand and Albuquerque. Yeah. So those laps definitely helped him. So a great result here. He's held that 6th position, and based on the pace he's had before, he's going to get a good 6th position here.
Yeah. Nice little battle. Joey Hand, though, will be pretty pleased to be well inside the points. Just his 4th DTM race. Season hadn't been going that well. Got it together. And right there behind Timo Scheider, 6th, 7th, 8th. And then Rockenfeller in 9th position. Farfus is in 10th. Down to 15. We had 7 retirements, so pretty unusual in the DTM to have 7 retirements. I know some of them were accident damage.
Yeah, it's a combination of the sort of track where the first lap you've got 2 or 3 very tight, demanding corners close together, and I think these cars, they ended up with quite a lot of body damage over that first half a mile of racing.
You got to say Mortara's consistent, isn't he? Keeps putting in those lap times about 1:27.3, 1:27.4.
It's so close between all of them. They're all covered. They're all doing lap times within a 1/10 of a second of each other. But what I said, Mortara has been strong in every single session this weekend from first practice on Friday. He's looked good, and he's carried that into the race as well.
Ekstrom is closing up a little bit, I think, on Paffett and Green. It's all concertining together, this top 5.
Yes, definitely as they come down here. And again, they've got just over 10 laps to go, so they'll start to realise that if they're going to make a move on these cars ahead, they've got to start making it now, as Albuquerque pushes Hand for 7th place. This battle's been going on for about 20 laps. I think about 25 laps actually this battle's been going on. So they've got to know each other quite well, got to know their strong points and weak points on the circuit, and Albuquerque doesn't seem to mind dishing out a little bit of contact, as we can see from the front grille there on the Audi.
I think one of his dive planes is at an unusual angle as well.
Yeah, his Hand was particularly slow coming out of that corner. I'm not sure if, I don't know if he's got a gear problem. And again, he looks back on the inside. He will have the inside for this downhill section. Keep your foot in there, Joey. Keep your foot in. Push him wide. Don't let him Come on, that's it.
And he
exactly
did go.
as he
It's
does.
gone to, I thought he was going to come back and T-bone him.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's fair enough, to be honest.
And always Rockefeller's view.
And he's gone round the outside. I'm sure he'll carry that round.
Well, they're going to need a few new Audi front radiator covers, aren't they? A few of the four rings have gone flying.
Definitely. I think Joey Hand must have had a problem changing up a gear. It looked like he missed a gear, which I think is pretty difficult to do in one of these cars.
Yeah, they've gone to a paddle shift this year. They always had a big old gear stick until this year.
So here's, this is the later on in the movement. Again, Hand keeps the inside. Again, he, as you say, he's lucky not to get speared in the side by this Audi. From there, it looked very close, but Hand luckily gave him enough room. But here we go, coming out. This is the overtake from Rockefeller as he gets down on the inside of Albuquerque. He'll be kicking himself there. Gains a place, but loses one, loses two at the same time.
Yeah.
But there's two Audi teammates. But it'd be interesting to see what happened to Hand there, because I'm sure he must have had a problem. He's coming up to that corner again.
Seemed to just missed a gear, didn't it?
No, or he is losing a gear. Again, he locks the brake there, so possibly if he hasn't got a third gear, if they use it there, and he's having to use fourth, that could be a problem with locking brakes and not being as quick out of the corner as he would have been.
They've all got the same Hewland gearboxes. They're pretty rock solid, and don't usually see problems like that. As Mortara's lead 1.3 at the moment. Another 1.2, 1.3 back from between Mortara, Tomczyk, Paffett, and then Ekstrom's still pushing hard, isn't he? There is Ekstrom, the Red Bull car with the red flashes on the side of it, and then green with the red mirrors, and there's the packed grandstands here in Austria.
Yeah, any of these top five drivers here have got the pace to win
and now
this
we
race.
can hear from what happened to Bruno Spengler, and he was fast at the beginning but then lost pace. Farina, talk to the man, find out what happened.
Yeah, I'm now here with Bruno. Bruno, you were sandwiched in the second corner, got in a mingle there with quite a few cars after that. What exactly happened that you had to end the race?
Well, I had quite a good start, and then turn two, it was a bit of a mess, but it was good racing, I would say. And then suddenly I got a hit on the rear, on the right side. As I was turning into the corner, Jamie Green just braked a little too late and was very aggressive and kind of pushed me really wild into my teammate Joey Hand. And unfortunately, I had to hit him as well because of Jamie's maneuver. And then my bonnet broke because of that, and my car was just undrivable for the rest of the race. We tried to stay out as much as we could, but we couldn't save anything, unfortunately, today. But much more was possible because the car. Much more was possible today because the car looks to be good in the race. Martin is second, so it's a shame for the team that I couldn't bring them more points today. But we concentrate on the racing now.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Bruno. Back to you two.
Yeah, thanks very much. So that's telling it like it is. Mortara still hanging on to this tenuous lead of 1.4 seconds. Paffett does a PB in the first sector, so he's not done yet.
And also Paffett was a couple of tenths quicker than the guys ahead of him on the last lap, and so he's starting to push that Mercedes now and see if he can improve on that third position. So let's see, but Mortara looks fairly safe in the lead now. He just needs to count off the laps and keep the pace up so that he doesn't give any of the guys behind a chance, of looking inside him, because everybody knows that those drivers of that calibre will just take any opportunity over the closing laps.
So in the lead, this Audi, project named R17. R1 was the Audi Quattro rally car all those years ago. Audi with a great motorsport heritage and looking for their first win of the season, and Heda Mortara is going to be a hero if he can pull this off. Made the transition from single-seater racing to the DTM. And Tomczyk seems to have dropped back a little bit, and Paffett seems to have closed up again. 7 laps remaining. Ekstrom still on the tail of the black Mercedes. Jamie Green right there as well.
They've got a good battle with Hand and Rockenfeller going on a bit further back in the field as well. Here it is. This is the battle here. Hand is a little bit slower on lap time than Rockenfeller behind him, probably about half a second. But now Rockenfeller's got behind him. He hasn't been able to make any of the moves stick. So as they come into the first corner, Rockenfeller looks like the man on the move. Albuquerque's battered Audi there has definitely been in the wars, and again he's got the pace. But Joey Hand is hanging in there, and he's desperate for a good top 10 finish in his BMW.
Yeah. Rockenfeller, Albuquerque. Good shot at the top of the hill there.
So it'll be interesting to see here if we stay on the onboard, just to see if Hand has got a problem as we come through here, because this is where he was particularly slow coming out earlier on, which allowed Albuquerque to get up inside. And again, the back breaks away under turning there. Again, maybe that was the problem. Again, he's not particularly quick out of that corner, but again, the back looks very loose, and Rockenfeller's getting ever closer. But again, Hand looks fairly safe around the rest of the circuit. Just that particular corner he seems to have a problem with.
Yeah, Mike Rockenfeller, former Le Mans winner, had that huge accident last year in the night when he was tipped by a Ferrari driven by an amateur. Didn't see him, and had to miss one DTM race.
So again, here's Green now, who's got on to the back of Ekstrom, who seems to have lost a little bit of the pace he had a couple of laps ago. He's not pushing Paffett, but now Green's looking for the inside.
Green could do this, couldn't he?
Well, I could get the cut back, but I think Ekstrom saw that one coming and didn't lose too much mid-corner speed, so I don't think he'll get a go this time. But definitely Green seems to have the pace. Not sure if Ekstrom made a mistake in the last couple of corners of the previous laps. He seems to have lost a little bit of time to Paffett ahead of him, and yeah, the lap time, I didn't lose that much lap time, to be honest. A couple of tenths. Oh, here we go, this is it, possibly. Here we go, this is it. Here's Ekstrom running wide, last corner, across the grass. Again, that would have lost him 2 tenths back up to the first corner.
Yeah, Dr. Ulrich.
As easy to say from the pit lane, but when you've got a Mercedes in front of you and a Mercedes behind you, you want to get past one of them, but without one coming back past you as well.
Mortara, Tomczyk, Paffett, Ekstrom, Green and Timo Scheider. Then it's Joey Hand, who's got Rockenfeller all over him, then Albuquerque with the damaged Audi, and then Farfus not doing a half bad job in 10th place. The Brazilian former World Touring Car driver.
Yeah, and one of the drivers for me is Timo Scheider, who's come, from nearly from the back of the field, really, up to 6th place, and all on pace. Actually, he
pace and a good strategy too.
A good strategy, but I think he'd have been on the back of these top 5 here, really. If he hadn't had that trip through the gravel earlier on. So he's going great.
So we've still got this quintet of cars at the front, and again, Green right behind the Audi of Ekstrom. T.S. Ekstrom, the Swiss-based Swede.
Tomczyk put a lap in that was 3 tenths quicker than Mortara in the lead. We've got 5 laps to go now, so maybe he's making a final push to end the race right on the bumper of that Audi and possibly push his way ahead. Again, we've got this battle here with Hand and Rockenfeller and Albuquerque, which is raging for 7th place, and again I think this will go to the flag as well.
Yeah, good battle between this trio, and then Farfus, you can just see in the background there, Rockenfeller still trying to find a way through past Joey Hand.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's the old racing cliche. It's enough to catch them up, but it's actually to get past them, that's the difficult part.
Absolutely. So Mortara continues, has led for most of this race, and certainly controlled it well, hasn't he? I thought he might just lose at that pit stop because they dropped to just over a second and a bit there, and thought, well, this is Gary's chance, but they just managed to get those tyres on in time to dispatch him up the hill just before Gary came. They were neck and neck, but he hangs on in the lead, and then Tomczyk been having a good run, has got in between Mortara and Paffett, and then we've got Ekstrom with a good run, and there Jamie Green. We've got a replay here of Edo Mortara.
And again, you can see how much suspension movement as the car bounces around there. The car's working very well, that Audi round here. But again, you can see just there's so much going on when you're behind the wheel of one of these cars. Again, one of the who's this? This is this is Green's lost a bit of time, running wide, had to ease off just to go round the outside of those bumps, rather than going straight across the top of them, which can cause damage to the car. And that will have lost him a couple of tenths as well.
Yeah, we started the season at Hockenheim. Seemed Audi didn't have the pace of the other two manufacturers, and that continued round 2 at the Lauschitzring. Then at Brands they seem to be much closer, and then here it looks like we're going to have that first Audi win of the season. Audi, of course, winning the championship last year. Yeah, but the damage to the Albuquerque car doesn't seem to be hampering it at all.
Joey Hand's BMW looks to be getting a little bit loose as Rockenfeller fills his mirrors full of that yellow Audi, just to say, come on mate, I'm still here. And his hand's gone wide there. It did look a little bit loose. Rockenfeller's gone through, and I think Albuquerque's going to see his way through as well,
isn't he?
Yeah, so the two Audis say thank you very much. That BMW was starting to look a little bit of a handful over the last couple of laps. But Hand will probably stay in there if these two can start slowing each other down.
Oh yeah, and Albuquerque goes wide. But Han can't take advantage of that.
Yeah, seems to be struggling with traction coming out of that first corner. So maybe if his tyres have completely gone, depending on what setup he's got in the car. But Joey doesn't seem to have it in the tank to come back at these two guys.
3 laps remaining, and Han still looks as if he might like to try and get past again. He'll be disappointed with that. Just still stay in the points.
So again, he looks to the outside, Joey Hand. But again, I thought he might have cut back here. But again, a little bit too committed, I think. Yeah. Possibly in the wrong gear, just coming out of there. Couldn't quite get the run back on Albuquerque.
Opposite lot that Albuquerque had on. Wound it on. There's Christina Sura, Martin Tomczyk's partner. She looks as she's going through nightmares.
Green's definitely dropped off the back of this gaggle, a couple of tenths slower than Ekstrom that lap. But Ekstrom out of these top 5 was the fastest on that last lap. So there's still a little bit to go on here, and I think there's, he's keen to get that podium. And Paffett's got to think about the championship. So if he can get close enough to have a lunge up the inside, you've got to say that Gary's got to be thinking about points rather than prizes today.
Yeah, he can't do some crazy move. Not that he's close enough right now to go diving down the inside of Tomczyk, and he's got to defend from Ekstrom as well. So we're right in the closing couple of minutes or so of this race, this longest DTM race in recent times. They lengthened it, had to make a adjustment to the sporting regulations to do that, giving the crowd a little extra action. Still races to come this afternoon after this. Tara capitalised on his pole position. Tara, Tomczyk, Paffett, Ekstrom, Green and Timo Scheider.
Yeah, Mortara really has been the star of this race. He's been under immense pressure right from the word go, and has done a great job. And really you can go back to that first corner where he didn't get a particularly good start, but he nailed his braking point into the first corner, went round the outside of Paffett to retake the lead that he'd lost off the bad start. I think if he hadn't done that, we wouldn't have seen him winning this race right now.
Yeah, Edo Mortara, big AC Milan fan. And there he is, trying to score his first victory in the DTM here.
And again, as Ekstrom getting ever so close, Paffett can't allow him to get too close on that last lap, because if he's within a car length, he can dive inside at the hairpin. So this will be quite exciting, I think, as Ekstrom pulls up a little bit closer, a couple of tenths quicker on that last lap. So I think they will be very tight going into the final couple of miles of this race.
Yeah, certainly will, and the checkered flag will await them. And here is Mortara, a very different story to last year when he finished in 16th place. But here he is out front, has soaked up enormous pressure, first from Gary Paffett, then from Martin Tomczyk. And here he is. And Edo Matara wins for the first time in the DTM, takes the checkered flag. Martin Tomczyk is second, good result for last year's winner. Gary Paffett, the championship winner. The championship leader, I should say, finishes third. There's Jamie Green into fifth place. And the crowd stand and they appreciate a great performance from a young man who's going far in motor racing. And Audi will be celebrating. So all three manufacturers have won. Matara does the burnout, and I doubt if he'll get penalised. In Formula One he might get a fine for that, but I don't think he will here. And still we got these cars coming through, and Han just holds off Farfus at the end. So Matara, Tomczyk, Paffett, Ekstrom, Green and Timo Scheider with that excellent strategy. Rockefeller, Albuquerque, Hand and Farfus are the top 10. Ralf Schumacher and Merry, and then Wickens, Susie Wolf and Rahal Fry.
And the BMW team looked very pleased there in second place for Tomczyk as well. Great result for them as well. Looked very strong throughout the race. And again, Tomczyk was...
we could go down there to the Audi boss and also Arno Jensen.
Well, here we are, two very, very happy men, Arno Jensen and of course Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich. First of all, congratulations. I mean, he really did ace the race.
It was fantastic. It was really brilliant. That was one of the hardest hours in my life. Thank you very much to Audi Sport. Thank you very much to Edo and to all of my team. I'm very, very happy.
And Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, I bet you're really, really happy as well. It couldn't have gone any better.
No, for sure. I'm really happy. The four rings are back. We are now able to win races again. And Edo did really a brilliant job. His team did a perfect job. I also have to say that Matthias was fighting really hard. He could have made a little bit maybe better at the end, but he was just fighting like hell. And it's difficult if you are in a pack with so close performing cars to overtake. But he was fighting to the very end. I'm really proud of all my people. It was difficult to catch up. We've been working very, very hard, but that's the best thank you to all the guys that have been working that hard.
And speaking of catching up, one more thing needs to be added. Timo Scheider from P16 to 6th place.
Yeah, this is also something really special. It shows the potential that he had in the car, and he was as well fighting, had a good strategy, so there is quite something possible if everything fits together.
Absolutely, and congratulations. Thank you very much, and back to you two.
Yeah, thanks very much, and well done for that. And there is Martin Tomczyk, finished in second place. Gary Paffett, is he doing donuts? We haven't seen him yet.
He's making the most of it.
He certainly will.
Great result from these guys. I mean, you've got to say that those two really on race pace. Any of those five could have won this race, but Mortara held his head.
Yeah.
There he is. I'm sure there'll be a few tears.
Yeah.
A great race from him.
25-year-old from Geneva, and he said in the press conference yesterday that it had been a difficult time for him on some personal issues, and he didn't want to elaborate on that. I'm sure this will certainly help him try and put behind him whatever problems he's had personally. Must be some relationships, I suppose.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, he's a great driver, and also I remember when there he is there celebrating. I'm sure he'll walk over to his team. But when he won Macau, I think that's when Audi picked him up and says, why not come and have a look at the DTM and see what we're all about.
Yeah,
and this is the fruits of that investment.
Yeah, we won Macau 2 years running. And because he moved up into GP2, had one win, but the rest of the season was really terrible. And then Volkswagen picked him up and put him back into Formula 3. And that's when he really seemed to get his speed and enthusiasm back for motor racing. Obviously didn't work in GP2, just didn't gel with the team. And since then it's been onwards and upwards. There he is.
Yeah, it's great.
And because he came from the VW family and winning the Formula 3 championship for VW gave him a test in the Audi, and that gave Audi the chance to see how quick he was. So
it's great to see these manufacturers backing young talent.
Yeah.
You know, without manufacturers getting involved, then a lot of these guys would go to waste, and all you'd have is guys with big budgets jumping in there.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic result for these sort of guys to saying, right, let's pick a young guy, let's put him in our car and see what he can do.
There were some of the donuts, the Playboy.
Yeah, the ultimate Playboy.
Yeah. Well, Marcus Winkelhock ran that livery for a long time and didn't come too close to winning. I think that's the first time they've won. The team RMG, new team that was set up to run 2 of these cars, they're certainly celebrating. But they were pretty good donuts he did. Don't really understand why Formula 1 doesn't like it. You know, Zanardi, of course, in Champ Car used to be the absolute expert at that. But now we can go down to hear from Edo Motaro with Verena.
Yes, Eduardo, congratulations. You certainly dominated the race. Congratulations to your very, very first victory. Honestly, how does it feel?
I don't know if I dominated the race. I was trying to survive. Gary and then Martin. Just after the pit stops, it was difficult to keep them behind. But otherwise, when I could run free, I had no problem. The car was perfect. I could manage my tires. Actually, I was not pushing 100%. I was seeing Martin behind me that could have been fast at the end. And I was trying to keep a margin for the last laps, but fortunately he couldn't come back, so I'm really happy.
Congratulations, thank you so much, and back to you.
Yeah, definitely driving with his head, wasn't he?
Definitely, yes. I mean, very aggressive to keep both those guys behind when they came out the pit stops, because he was definitely under full attack.
So there is the confirmation of the race result after 47 laps, and a victory by just a fraction over a second over Martin Tomczyk, who is the reigning champion and won here last year. Paffett in 3rd place retains his championship lead, and Ekstrom with a good run as well. And then see all these retirements that we're not used to, and Susie Wolf getting 14th, and Bruno Spengler, of course, that late retirement from him. Disappointed to see David Coulthard go out, because he was racing nice and strongly.
Yeah, had good strong race pace. I would say, if he'd finished, he'd have been up there with the hand battle.
Up the stairs. And there's Martin Tomczyk just pulling the Red Bull down. It's quite tall, Martin. I think she'll be singing the Vienna Opera House tomorrow.
I was wondering if she was miming first of all, but she wasn't.
No, she's not. No, it's one of the features of the DTM. And Siegfried Nadel hangs over the trophy. And then the Johan Leifer to Arne Jensen. And kisses the trophy. First time he's received one of those. And the World Cup skier hands over the trophy to Martin Tomczyk. Then another one for Gary Paffett's trophy room in his Suffolk home. In fact, probably has to give them to Mercedes-Benz.
Probably part of the contract. He probably gets a copy.
Yeah.
But a great result from all 3 drivers. Drove incredibly well there. Some of the best racing that I've ever seen in the DTM. Very, very close, and extremely hard, but extremely fair, I think, is what you could say there.
Did have quite a few retirements here, but you've got to be impressed with the reliability. These brand new racing cars and a new design. I think an excellent job has been done there. And Gary, look, that's nice. Gary celebrating with Edo. Yeah, I remember my first win all those years ago. It's a great feeling, savour the moment.
Or he could have been saying, I'll keep the smile on my face, but next time I won't give you quite so much room. So I'll let you off this time, but next time don't expect me to back off.
So Edo's got the gold bottle.
Oh yeah, we had the golden one, huh? That was a tough one.
And I think he's pretty multilingual. I think he speaks Italian, French, English and German as well, does Batara.
Well, that's the standing in good said in the press conference, because I should think there'll be lots of international journalists who'd like to hear how his race went today.
Yeah.
But Tom Czech there is standing taller than the rest there. But again, he showed what he wanted to do in those first couple of corners. He was out there a little bit like a prize fighter.
He certainly was.
A couple of people got hits from him, I think, in those first couple of corners.
Yeah, certainly reinvigorated his career last year with Audi, and then made that big surprise move and won the championship with Audi and switched to BMW after they failed to get a signature from Gary Paffett. They really pushed hard to get Gary, but he instead signed a long-term contract with Mercedes, so they switched to Martin Tomczyk. And Martin is managed by his brother rather than one of the well-known sort of international managers. It was the celebrating donuts. Roberto Merri picked up a 5-second penalty for something. Now we can hear from Gary Paffett and Martin Tomczyk. They're there with Verena right now.
Yes, they're right here. So first of all, congratulations. It was a tough battle, but how's it feel?
Really good. I mean, another podium in first and fourth in 4 races, so it's incredible. We gained more points in the championship, so continued our pretty much perfect start to the season.
I bet you could get used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been incredible. I mean, today was tougher. Today was a very difficult race. Edu and Tomczyk and Martin really wanted to win this race, so a bit more than I did, I think. So in the end, I sort of thought I was settled for third.
And you, Martin, you really did push hard. You really did give your best. How does it feel for you?
Yeah, it was a tough race. Actually, you were not allowed to do any mistake, because then Gary or whatever or whoever was behind me at that time was there. So it was just doing your run without any mistakes and hoping that the other one in front of you was doing a mistake. Unfortunately, it did not work out. So I just could manage for after a perfect second pit stop to come between both of them, and then I could finish second. So it's a great result for my team RMG. It's mine. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. Congratulations again. Thank you very much. And while we're waiting for the press conference to begin, here are the highlights.
Yeah, here we are, looking down on the Red Bull and the Austrian costumes. Great atmosphere here. And the track, we haven't seen the numbers, but it was last year they had 48,000 here, and I believe it must be pretty close, or not more than that this year. International flags. It is a truly international championship. Andy Priaulx, his car there, he'll be going home and wondering what he needs to do. We know this BMW is fast.
You can see the damage there. Spengler's front splitters collapsed, as well as the bumper damage. So that was what was causing him to lose time.
The mountings, I think the bonnet must have got knocked up and broke the mountings. It settled back down. Well, we had plenty of exciting moments in this race, didn't we? Good to see the Californian right in there. Susie Wolf having a big moment. DC in the middle of the pack, sadly to retire with a brake problem. You spotted Sean, and then Mortara, as he said in the interview with Verena, he was under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he soaked it up, belied his lack of relative experience compared to the people around him. Didn't look like it was his first DTM win. I'm sure there'll be much easier wins than that to come in the future.
And then the checkered flag fell on a famous victory. And Team Rosberg boss could hardly believe it, could he? He got a face full. So we look down on the circuit as we wait for the press conference. A very modern new facility here at the Red Bull Ring. Prescott treated to free food in the media centre.
And very nice it was as well.
Yeah.
I think I had a nice pudding in there today. I think I'd eaten too much over the last couple of days.
Plenty of Red Bull on tap as well. There's Gary Paffett. Well, if he had a nightmare season last year, it's all going well for him here because he's got that sizable buffer as we head off towards the race at the Norris Ring, which has traditionally been Jamie Green territory. Won it for 3 years in a row, all in the same car, incidentally. That car, of course, now a museum piece, as are all the DTM cars from last year.
Signature there, those BMWs are sparking from the front diffuser, front splitter on the front of the car, unlike any of the others, but quite impressive. But there's Matara again, looking rock solid.
4 rings of Audi. His didn't get bashed about, but some of the others did.
I think his right rear corner might have a little bit of Mercedes black paint and rubber from Paffett's car, but apart from that, he kept himself fairly clean.
Traditional Austrian houses there in the background. Just is one of the greatest venues for motor racing. And there you just see, there you get the idea how it climbs up that hill to that right hairpin and runs along the side of the ridge and then down another hairpin and then swoops down the hill and then finally through the Jochenrindt curve and the Red Bull corner back towards the pits. This was the start.
So it'll be interesting because this is where Spengler got all that damage. So if we stay on that onboard, possibly till the hairpin, we'll see what happens. But again, there's Mortara. He just picks his braking point and just drives right round the outside of Ekstrom and Paffett. And that's the move that won him this race. And again, if you watch there as well, Tomczyk pushing hard. There's the sparks from Spengler's car. But again, that's from the damage there.
Yeah, you can see the bonnet flapping, can't you?
Yeah, and the front splitters dropped down. Again, that's a very long way back. Can't remember who that was, but it's diving up the inside.
I think it might be DC in the middle of there.
Possibly. Oh, that's right, because he did mention about having connection with Ralph and also with Spengler. I can't say that was too bad. That's just racing, really.
Yeah,
and
maybe it was that one there, was it?
Yeah, I don't think that was DC's fault, really. I would have thought Spengler more turning into him, and they get caught in the sandwich there. Ralph has to brake and back out of it. But that's a little bit more of the action we need to see from DC if he's going to, make one of these DTM cars work for him. He needs to get right in the mix, start rubbing a few door handles with people, and I'm sure we'll see him get up into the top 10.
So we're heading towards that press conference. We've already heard from most of the drivers, but of course I've had time to take a bit of breather, think about it. Obviously our man down in the press conference will be asking some slightly different questions, so waiting for that to happen as we watch the pit stop, and there they are. So let's move over to the press and media centre.
After this, this is ESPN.